Hi everyone, here's the new video about G-Stomper Studio. Today we're going to show you everything relating to the audio editor, which is a tool with which we can edit existing audio samples or to record new audio samples from a microphone or other input device. This tool supports the following sample formats. And if we want to record the audio sample with an external microphone or with our device's microphone, these are the supported formats. You can access the audio editor in various ways. In the main record menu, long press record to show the record menu. In the dialog box that opens, click on the option Record Sample from Microphone. Doing so will start a new, empty audio editor ready to record a new sample. We can also access the audio editor through the Drum Sampler track menu. Long press one of the trackpads to show up the track menu. In the options window that is shown, we can access the audio editor by clicking on the Record Sample from Microphone option on the Load tab, which will start a new empty audio editor window ready to record a new sample, or on the following options on the Edit tab. If we choose the Open Sample in Audio Editor option, the current track sample will be opened in Audio Editor. If we choose the New Audio Editor option, a new empty Audio Editor window will start. Finally, you can access the audio editor via the VA-Beast PCM setup. On the VA-Beast synthesizer view, press PCM Setup. This setting option is only visible if the loaded preset is a PCM-based preset. Now either long press SMP or simply press Sample menu. In the New Options menu that opens, we can choose again two options that will take us to the audio editor. The first is the Record Sample from Microphone option, which will start a new empty instance of the audio editor, ready to record a new sample. The second is the Open Sample in Audio Editor option, which will open the current sample in the audio editor. Load samples. To load a sample, press Load in the toolbar on top. Then choose the sample category. The categories available are as follows. Load factory sample. Load a single factory sample onto the track. This includes samples from installed sample packs. Load user sample. Load a single user sample onto the track. This can be a sample from anywhere on your storage. Load currently used sample. Load a single already used sample onto the track. Here you can choose from a list of samples which are currently in use, in memory, in other words which are already loaded onto some track or pattern. Save samples. To save a sample, press Save in the toolbar on top. You can also just exit the audio editor by pressing the back button on your device, the X in the upper right corner of the audio editor window. It will automatically ask you to save the sample if there are unsaved changes. Play, stop, record. The three playback buttons have different functionalities depending on how we press them. Play button. Short click, playback stopped, start playback.
I'm about to lose it.
Short click, with playback running, restart playback.
I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it.
Short click, with recording paused, start recording.
I'm about to lose it.
Long click, loop playback on or off.
I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it.
The stop button.
I'm about to lose it.
Short click with playback running, stops playback.
I'm about
Short click, first playback stopped, playback position back to previous start position.
I'm about to lose.
Short click, secondly, playback stopped, reset playback position to start marker position.
I'm about to lose it.
The record button. Short-click, start recording from a paused state. Long-click, change recording format. Undo redo. The audio editor provides unlimited undo redo steps for all edit and audio processing operations. Press record to activate the microphone. The recorder remains in pause state so that you can tune the input level before you start the actual recording. Press play to start the recording. Likewise, you can always press record for the second time. Finally, press stop to end the recording. Change the recording format. Long press record to show the recording format dialog. Set the recording format and confirm with OK. The following chapters explain the different elements of the waveform editor. Main waveform. The main waveform always shows the complete sample. It is used for rough selections and gives you an overview about what the sample is. Selection markers. The selection markers are used to select a particular range of a sample. All edit and audio processing operations are always executed on the selected sample range. Move the selection markers by touching the blue and red thumbs. The detail waveform to the right reflects the currently selected, the last touched marker. To cycle through the markers without changing their position, simply double tap the detail waveform. Please also note that if you move the selection markers in the main waveform, they always snap back to the next zero crossing. The start marker scans to the left, the end marker to the right. You can set the scan range as zero crossing snap feature or turn it on and off in the audio editor configuration. Position marker, edit cursor. The position marker has two main functions. It shows the current playback position of the sample, and it's your edit cursor which determines the position where copied sample data gets pasted as part of all copy and paste operations. Move the position marker by touching the grey thumb in the centre. Sample info. The sample info shows all relevant details of the loaded sample or the recording format if no sample is loaded. Status line. The status line shows the sample position of the start-end marker and the selected range in samples and milliseconds. Detail waveform. The detail waveform shows 5 milliseconds of the sample around the currently selected, the last touch marker. It is used to fine-tune the position of the currently selected, the last touched marker. To switch the detail waveform to another marker, simply touch its thumb in the main waveform. To cycle through the markers without changing their position, simply double tap the detail waveform. To fine-tune the selected marker position, touch and swipe the detail waveform. It is important to remember that all edit operations are always executed on the selected sample range. Cut. Copy the selection to the clipboard and delete it from the sample afterwards. Copy. Copy the selection to the clipboard. Paste insert. Paste the clipboard content at edit cursor position. The pasted sample data will be inserted. Paste mix, best for quality. Paste the clipboard content at the edit cursor position. The pasted content will be mixed with the existing sample data, using the mixing algorithm for best quality. Paste mix, best for loudness. Paste the clipboard content at the edit cursor position. The pasted content will be mixed with the existing sample data. Use the mixing algorithm for maximum loudness. Paste overwrite. Paste the clipboard content at the edit cursor position. The pasted content will overwrite replace the existing sample data. Crop. Trim the sample to the current selection. Deletes everything outside the selection. Delete. Deletes the selected sample data. Smooth delete, 2 variations. Delete the selected sample data and X-fade at the edges. You can change the X-fade times in the audio editor configuration. Mute. Mute, silence out the selected sample data. Swap stereo channels. Swaps the selected sample data of the left and right stereo channel. It's important to remember that all audio processing operations are always executed on the selected sample range. Level plus or minus 1 decibel. Raise or lower the level of the selection by 1 decibel. Level plus or minus 3 decibels. Raise or lower the level of the selection by 3 decibels. Fade in. Create a linear fade in over the selected duration, starting from silence and ramping up to the original level. For exponential fade-ins, repeat the operation while keeping the same selection. Fade out. Create a linear fade out over the selection duration, starting from original level and ramping down to silence. For exponential fade outs, repeat the operation while keeping the same selection. Normalize linked level. Normalize the level of the selection to 0 decibels, the maximum possible level without clipping. The channels are linked. The relation between the left and right stereo channel will not be touched. Normalize level per channel. Normalize the level of the selection, each stereo channel independently, to 0 decibels, maximum possible level without clipping. Connect. Connect. Interpolate linearly the start and end sample of the selection. Use this operation to fix unwanted clicks, pops in the sample. Reverse. Reverse the selected sample data. Remove DC offset. Remove the DC offset from the selected sample data. Analyzes the selection and shifts the data in the vertical direction so that the resulting sample data has equal power on each side of the 0 line. Invert phrase. Invert the phrase of the selected sample data. Turns the waveform upside down. All audio processing operations are always executed on the selected sample range. Noise gate, 2 variations. The noise gate works like a regular gate, as known from the effects. It analyses the selection and silences out any sample data that falls below the defined threshold in decibels. The attack and release time is fixed at 5 milliseconds. You can change the threshold values in the audio editor configuration. Pitch shift. The pitch shift operation changes the pitch of the selected sample data without changing the playback speed or duration. It works like all other pitch shifters in G-Stomper, but with a higher quality and much higher pitch shift range. Pitch range is 12.5% to 800%, plus or minus 36 semitones to plus or minus 3 octaves. When you start the pitch shift operation, you'll be prompted to choose the pitch value. To get a smooth transition between the processed sample range, the selection, and the sample data outside the selected range, the edges are X-faded. Time compress expand. The time compress expand operation changes the time duration, or in other words the playback speed, of the selected sample data without changing the pitch. Time compress expand range 12.5% to 800%, playback speed 800% to 12.5%. When you start the time compress expand operation, you'll be prompted to choose the time duration value. To get smooth transitions between the processed sample range, the selection, and the sample data outside the selected range, the edges are X-faded. Really hope you've enjoyed listening to us, and we'll see you again shortly.